Today I have a little bit more time than I usually do, praise God. And I think it's necessary for your age group because you guys are going through challenges in your life. And the next few years of your life, you don't know it now, but the way you handle the next few years of your life is going to mark how your 20s go and how your 30s go. Some of you still have I'm a kid mindset, but you're not anymore. You're not a kid anymore. At your age, I made the Olympic soccer team, or what you call football. The rest of the world calls football. You see, I was very, very talented. Extremely talented. I would take the best player here and bet that I was better. I don't know that for a fact, but there's a very good chance. And I made the Olympic soccer team at 14, 15 years old. I was on my way to being a professional. You see, when you have 1 foot in on something and 1 foot out, you're never going to be successful. Did you know that? Nobody's ever going to take you serious. Nobody's ever going to respect you. Well, I got into high school, and I was a pretty popular kid, and I got invited to some parties. The scary thing about life, one bad decision. One bad decision. And next thing you know, your heart's entangled with the ways of the world. You love something you said when you were growing up you would never love. You would never do that. And then you do it. You see, the thing about sin, according to the Bible said sin feels good for a season. And then it destroys everything about your life. So I went from on top, and I started going down. Down. I even had a wonderful prayer life as a young boy. I saw prayers answered. I'm telling you, I felt like I could ask God anything I wanted and He was going to answer it. If I prayed to make the best marks in school, I would pray all summer long and then I would make the best marks. If I said, God, I want to make this soccer team, I would pray and then I would make the soccer team. God, I want to run faster, I would pray and then I would run faster. And I had that relationship with God, but the whole time, the devil was nipping at my heels. The devil knew something. If I could just get Joseph off track a little bit, just a little, he's going to love sin. And that's what he did. You see, the devil's been practicing at ruining human lives since the beginning, since Adam and Eve. He's got a lot of practice. He's very, very good at it. Let me tell you something else about the devil. He's smarter than you are. He's smarter than I am. And I found that out the hard way. Well, the next thing I knew, I was into partying, I was into drinking, I was into smoking. And then my soccer games, I started performing less good and less good and less good. And all I cared about was girls and partying. You laugh. Man, I think a year went by in my life, and I had a revelation. I was like, man, I don't know if I prayed for a year straight. A year straight, one decision, one bad choice. It could go another way too. You sleep with a girl at your age and the next thing you know, you have a baby to take care of. Next thing you know, you can't afford diapers. You can't afford to take the baby to the doctor. And he ends up like my baby was. He was malnourished. He was vomiting. He had diarrhea. He was close to death. You can see his ribs. He was so skinny. Why? Because irresponsible people that were in the grips of Satan, they gave way to a child when they weren't ready. So many ways. You know, for me, I had so much hope. Some of you, your story's different. You know, I was on the way to being a pro in soccer. Some of you don't think it's possible that you can achieve high. You say, oh, my parents don't have the money. God's not bound by your parents' bank accounts. Did you know that? He's not bound by that. You say, well, I'm not the smartest. God's not bound by your intelligence. You know what binds God? Lack of faith. Lack of believing unto Him. Did you know that? It says by faith. By faith, God is moved. And by grace through faith are we saved. I want to tell a story real fast about a 17-year-old. Now, I speak to all different age groups. When it's younger, I'll tell an illustration of a story. But with your age group, I want to tell a true story. It's a story of this preacher. Before he died, he was responsible for 79 million. Say million. 79 million people coming to Jesus Christ. He was a mighty, mighty evangelist. His name was Reinhard Bonnke. Now, when he was still here, because he died